Hi everyone, my name is Victoria, and now I'm going to tell you the story of how my boyfriend dumped me as soon as he found out that I was working as a cleaner. To say that it was a nightmare is an understatement. You guys get ready to listen, and I'll get started. By the way, if any of you have experienced something like that, I'd love to hear from you. If you're uncomfortable, you can just put any smiley face in the comments. I'll know what it means. My boyfriend and I met 6 months ago at a lavish reception for his parents. They were throwing a banquet for 200 people, where all the biggest bigwigs in town were invited. But I wasn't one of the attendees, I was one of the caterers. I had just been trained at the time, and it was my first day on the job at such an event. Like all the other waiters, I served food, cleaned tables, and listened to what the guests wanted. 30 minutes after we started, I was told to bring a tray with glasses of champagne, which cost more than I could have ever dreamed of. I was very nervous and could only think about how I could get it to the guests without dropping them. Then at that moment, a guy in an equally expensive suit came up to me. I didn't even look him in the face, just started apologizing wildly, and picking up the shards, I immediately cut myself. "Oh shit! Oh, I'm sorry, sir, I didn't mean to," I said in my haste to pick up the glass. But the guy took me by the hand where the blood was running and put his perfectly white handkerchief to it. Just then, I looked at him. It was the owner's son. His name was John. He picked me up gently and led the way, ordering the other boys to clear the floor on the way. He led me into his house and into the bathroom. I apologized the whole way and begged to be let go.
"What are you so afraid of? I won't eat you."
"If the owners see me, they'll throw me out."
"You hurt yourself. You need medical attention, and I have antiseptic and Band-Aids."
"Thank you, sir. I'm fine."
"You don't have to. Don't underestimate the wounds. I want to take care of them, that's all."
"Thank you, sir." I was very uncomfortable. He treated the wounds, and that's how we met. I couldn't believe he was paying attention to me. Not only was he handsome, but he was also smart and rich. After this event, he started courting me, and our relationship reminded me of a fairy tale. I don't know what he saw in me, but I was the envy of everyone. John knew exactly what kind of family I came from. We weren't wealthy. My dad and mom were old, but he was attracted to the atmosphere in our house. He said we were much cozier. It seemed nice. And then it was his birthday. I had no idea what to get him. John said he wanted to ask me for something, and that would be the gift. We sat down in a nice restaurant, and he took my hand and said,
"Please don't work anymore."
I laughed, started laughing, and he asked me what was so funny that I had heard. "That's it?"
"Yes, it's important to me to know that you won't hurt yourself anywhere else."
"Look, that's very nice of you, but I can't not work. It's not like I graduated for nothing."
"For what? Attendant training?"
"Yeah, what's the big deal? Are you ashamed of my job?"
"No, it's not about that. You know that. I'll help you out with as much money as you need."
"I can't do that, thank you. But John, I'm helping my parents too, and I can't afford to rely on you."
"You can. It was my idea. Just give me a gift like that, okay?"
I thought about it for a long time. I didn't want to agree, but John was really insistent, and I thought that now anyway, there are no orders, so I don't work anyhow. So I said yes. He was very happy, and afterwards, we went for a walk. My mom kept gabbing about how I shouldn't let him go because he was promising and rich, and I was lucky. I tried to tell her that our relationship wasn't about luck. We just happened to be together for now, but she was embarrassed by the word "for now." A couple of weeks later, I got a call from the office, our general manager for job placement, telling me that a cleaning lady was needed at a big business center. I wanted to say no, but when I was told the salary, I still said yes. It was a rush job. There was a need for an employee now, and preferably young, to clean quickly. John and I had arranged to go to the movies, and I said my mom needed help, so I couldn't go with him. I went to the center and only then realized that my boyfriend's mom was in charge of it. It was a nightmare. I had to make something up so she wouldn't recognize me. I put on a mask and a cap and cleaned the floors. After a few hours, I came home and fell into bed of exhaustion. I didn't even hear 4 missed calls from John. I called him back in the morning and told him I was really tired yesterday and didn't hear the phone. John reminded me that I had promised to go with him to his friend's wedding, but I had work to do. I immediately lied that I couldn't because my mom's aunt was coming in spontaneously, and I would have to meet her and be with her. My boyfriend was upset but didn't say anything, so I went to work myself. I passed out again when I got home and didn't even text him, and it went on like that for more than a week. I decided to take a day off and spend it with him. We arranged to meet in the park, but on the way, while I was taking the bus, I got a call from work and was asked to come in urgently to clean the office for an unscheduled conference. I tried to explain that I couldn't, but they promised to pay me twice as much. I switched to another bus and went there, figured I'd get cleaned up quickly and then on to John's date. I did my chores, was almost finished, and then his mom walked into the office. I put my head down sharply and said hello, but she didn't pay any attention to me. She was arguing with someone. I wanted to leave, but on the threshold, I realized that I had forgotten my bucket. I decided to wait outside the door and happened to hear what they were arguing about. She was accused of destroying important documents. She was screaming hard, saying that just yesterday she had them on her desk. She walked out of there like a lunatic, and I wanted to go get the bucket, but then I heard her interlocutor on the phone. He said he did everything. He hid the documents in the back room. And I was so shocked. They were trying to set her up. I pretended I was washing the hallway. The guy came out and ran to get the bucket. And then when I was cleaning up, I found those same documents in the back room and hid them in my purse. On the way out of the building, I took off my gloves, hat, and mask, and I bumped into John head-on at the entrance. He got mad and took me aside and asked me what I was doing there. I wanted to think of something, but then the receptionist came over and gave me money and told me she was expecting me at work tomorrow. "You need to clean 2 more halls tonight, okay?" John understood right away. We got in the car and he took me home, and we had a terrible fight on the way. John kept saying I promised him not to work, much less clean his mother's center, and I said I couldn't depend on him financially. And when we got home, he said what pissed him off more wasn't that I had gone without his knowledge, but that I had broken my promise and lied. "Are we breaking up?"
I'm afraid so.
And he left, and I went home and cried all night. The next day I called and wrote, but he didn't answer. In the evening I went to work. I wanted to quit because I couldn't see him or his mother there. I had to write a statement, so I went to the admin's office and saw John and his mother there. I got embarrassed and wanted to leave, but John followed me.
What are you doing here?
I wanted to sign a letter of resignation.
Could you come back another day? It's not a good time right now.
What's wrong?
Mom's in trouble. She's been accused of something she didn't do.
And then I remembered about the paperwork. They want to charge her with destroying documents?
How do you know that?
Her assistant, the one standing next to her, he's to blame.
What do you mean? Do you know something?
I told him everything and gave him the documents I had forgotten about. John was so excited. He hugged me and took my hand, and we went in there together. John told his mother everything, and security immediately grabbed her assistant. Thus, her position was saved. They thanked me, and John went to drive me home. He also thanked me and apologized. But if I hadn't worked there...
I know. I'm sorry for putting you in such a frame of reference. It's just that I'm terribly jealous of you, and because I didn't allow...
Jealousy? Really? I'm a janitor, and you were jealous?
I fell in love with you as a waitress.
Well, that's you.
You what? What do you mean?
I mean, I love you too. Anyway, we made up. I don't work as a janitor there anymore, but I got an internship at the same center as a manager. That's fine with me too.
Hello everyone, my name is Nathan. I want to tell you about a story that happened to me recently. Don't be surprised by my appearance. Yes, I'm wearing a tuxedo right now, and there is a reason for this. Something terrible had happened a minute before my fiancée came out. Anyway, I ran away. Oh, before you call me a jerk and a traitor, just listen to my story and then judge, okay? Girls, this especially concerns you. And also, I'm waiting for your comments. Just write your opinion below the video. I'd like to know what you think. In general, I had a girlfriend, Agnes. She was so pretty and had a hot body and curvy blonde hairs. Like me, she is from a wealthy family. Therefore, she was not interested in money. It would have been better though. Agnes and I met for about a year. Not because I wanted. The first 6 months it was cool, interesting, but gradually I got tired of her endless need for attention. There are girls who stick like mites and do not lag behind. My girl is from this kind. Sure, she lured me out of my diamond ring, but it's not even about shopping. Guys, admit it. Which one of you had this? What did you do and how did you manage? To make it clear to you, Agnes mercilessly texted me, sent me her photos, and made me send my photos in return. Every time I woke up, there was a message from her, my beloved, "Good morning, how are you?" And if I didn't answer for 10 minutes, she would call. Since I didn't answer the phone just out of curiosity, I was curious to know how long it would last. Agnes called me 89 times. 89 times, guys. I'm not kidding. And then the doorbell rang. She came to my house. "What are you doing here?" "Well, you didn't answer to my messages or pick up the phone, so I thought maybe something had happened." Oh my God, Agnes, you and I were on a date yesterday evening, and you brought me home in person and walked me to the door. What could have happened to me in my own home? How do I know? You're not picking up the phone. Did you fall in the bathroom? I wish I'd fallen. What? Don't say that. Do you want to die? No, I didn't mean that. So you'd rather die than being with me? So what? Tell me, are you cheating on me? God, Agnes, what are you talking about? You didn't answer, so yes. She immediately began to cry. 12 a.m. We're standing on my doorstep and Agnes is blowing bubbles out of her snot. It couldn't be worse, could it? My mum came out and I said it was okay. I had to put my arms around her and kiss her to calm her down. That's the kind of relationship we had. Do you want to know if I cheated on her? No, but I did have one flirt after all. It was Agnes's birthday and she was expecting a bouquet of 1,000 white roses from me. I ordered and came to pick it up at the flower shop where I was served by a very nice girl. Her name was Mila. Yeah, I flirted with her a little, yeah. I took her number, said that the bouquet was for my mother and promised to call. But as soon as I entered Agnes's room with the flowers, I didn't expect such a reaction. What is Mila? Who is she? What? How are you anyway? Were you following me? Who is she? Agnes, nothing happened. Let's not ruin your day. You've already ruined it. Remember, Nathan, you are mine and mine alone. And you belong only to me. Do you understand me? What? I'm actually a person, not a thing. Anyway, after a long fight, I said I can't live in a relationship anymore where I couldn't even take a shit without Agnes knowing, and I went home. She still followed me for a while, but I wasn't going to talk to her anymore. 2 months later, I went camping with some friends. We decided to relax in the mountains, and there, by chance, I met Mila. It was fun. We got to know each other better, introduced friends, and had a rest together. I can't remember the last time I felt so good and free. A week later, we started dating. She was an amazing girl, but most importantly, not intrusive. 6 months later, I proposed to her, being sure that I wanted to marry her. Mila accepted my marriage proposal, but she disappeared after. I called, texted, visited, but she was gone. Finally, she showed up 3 days later. Where have you been? Sorry, urgent business. I forgot my phone at home and I couldn't remember yours. That's all she said, but I believed her. We had a lot of work ahead of us preparing for the wedding and everything related to it. I chose a suit and Mila chose a dress. She started acting a little weird after she got home. Mila, is everything okay? Of course, my love. What about you? My love? You've never called me my love before. Ugh, pre-wedding rush, right? We prepared like crazy, although Mila's behavior was a little weird. I asked some questions from past conversation and she always said she'd forgotten. She became very nervous and blamed everything on the wedding rush. Mila came up to me the day before our wedding, looked into my eyes and smiled. I recognized something painfully familiar in that smile. Those dimples that she hadn't had before, they were only at... No, what does Agnes have to do with it? She's been gone a long time, right? So I thought to myself, and then she suggested having breakfast at my house. I noticed a ring that I gave to Agnes once. It was very similar, and I asked where Mila got it from. It's old. Haven't you seen it? My mother gave it to me. Mila fussed, and I suddenly began to understand something. I asked her to make me some bacon and eggs and make me a coffee. I sat and watched. Mila, how was your work? You haven't told me about it for a long time. Yes, work is like work. You know, my head is full of other things right now. Thank you for the breakfast. It looks delicious. Thank you, my love. Enjoy it. Agnes? Yes, my love. I knew it. It's you. It's you. Agnes was confused. She didn't know what to hold on to, and she was alarmed. Her hands were shaking, and I got up from the table. The only thing she asked was how I guessed. Your behavior, the ring I gave to you, and also, Mila hasn't worked at the florist in a long time, and she's never been to my house. And you know where the dishes and groceries are, and what kind of coffee to make for me. Only one girl knew that. It was you, Agnes, I shouted. Agnes was standing in front of me with Mila's face. At first, she was afraid, and then she just calmed down. I felt like I was losing consciousness. What did you do to me? I managed to ask before I fell. I don't remember how long it took me to wake up, but I was already sitting in a white room in a tailcoat, and I could hear the voices of the guests. I started banging on the closed door, and Mila came in. She smiled and said that everything was ready. "Where's Mila? What did you do to her?" I shouted at her, and she told me nonsense about her feelings, that we were going to get married and everything would be fine. But I didn't want to listen to her. I took my hands off and moved away. At some point, she freaked out and began to pull off her mask. It was the real Agnes, only with a crazy look in her eyes. It was even creepy. "Where's Mila? You won't see her again. What did you do to her?" "I stole her life, just like she stole it from me." "You're just crazy." "Love, I get what I want. What did you think, that you can just get rid of me so easily? You think I didn't realize that you had a crush on her? I've been tracking your every move, tracking your dates. Not always, but I did. And now that I found out about your proposal, I couldn't let you get married." Then we were called into the hall. Agnes put on a Mila mask and said that we would talk later. And as soon as the door opened, I ran as fast as I could. Agnes was running after me, screaming, yelling, and I didn't even turn around. I wanted to be away from this crazy woman. The whole horror was like a bad dream, dizzy. I remember Agnes's last words before the knock on the door. "Mila is dead." I took her face. "Are you satisfied?" I got goosebumps on my skin again, and then a sharp nausea. "Young man, can you hear me?" "Huh? What?" "You ordered flowers, white roses, 1,000 of them. Will you take something else?" Yes. I've got this whole story in my head because of Agnes's jealousy. I didn't want that cute girl from the flower shop to die because of me, so I thought it through. Anyway, I'm too young to get married. I'll go to Agnes's birthday party, and then I'll leave her in a week, and fuck it.